How's it going, guys? Welcome to the FM Dugout. Have you ever wondered what would have happened if on the 1st of January this year Man United decided to sack Louis Van Gaal and install the recently sacked Jose Mourinho as their manager? Well, this episode of Simulating Football Manager, I'm doing just that. Jose Mourinho has taken over at Manchester United on the 1st of January 2016. And as you can see from his stats, it kind of goes without saying he is an exceptionally good manager, apart from his ability to work with youngsters, physiotherapy and goalkeepers. So don't be expecting to see many youngsters kind of break through Man United. He's more likely to spend whatever money he has to improve their squad. Now obviously the position Man United are in at the moment is not the same as in the current situation in real life. They're actually sitting second in the league, a point behind Man City. You can see Leicester are way down in 12th here. So yeah, it's not really following the same track as real life. The big sort of 5-6 teams, probably even 7 going down to Everton, are the sort of teams you'd expect to see up at that end of the table. So Louis Van Gaal was actually doing a decent job. He'd only lost one game, which was away to Liverpool. So Mourinho comes in and we'll see what he can do in the remaining 5 months or so of the season. In terms of the signings that Van Gaal made, he hasn't made any. Everyone's gone out on loan, no sales to speak of. So Mourinho will start with the same squad. So without any further ado, I'll jump on into the 1st of July and we'll see how he's got on in his first half season. So that's the end of season 1 for Jose Mourinho, and he's still in charge at Man United, so things couldn't have gone too badly. Let's take a closer look how things have gone on for them. So in the English Premier, we can look at the stages. So last year, Man United finished third, a point behind Chelsea, 1 point ahead of Arsenal. Looks like it was a fairly close fight for second place, but Man City eventual winners with an 11-point lead. Van Gaal had them in second and now they're third. So in terms of the game, he's not done as well as Van Gaal was doing. But in terms of compared to real life, doing considerably better. So that's how they got on in the league. Let's take a look and see how they performed in the transfer market. So Mourinho made 3 signings in his first transfer window. He had John Stones for $38.5 million, pretty hefty fee for the 22-year-old. But I think, you can see for yourself, this guy at 22 years old has a lot of potential, and he's, a great player as it stands at the moment. So, it's a lot of money, but Man United can pay it, and, he'll be a quality centre-back for at least 10 years. How did he actually get on? 7.57 out of 15 appearances, so pretty solid performance. He also signed Yusuf Poulsen from RBL for 6.75 million and Make from Cruzeiro for 7 million. I don't know anything about these players. This is a Danish 22-year-old, looks like quite versatile sort of striker come winger, and also Make here a Brazilian right back, looks pretty decent. But yeah, okay, so nothing too major. In terms of who they sold, they got rid of Marouane Fellaini to Chelsea for 6.75 million and Victor Valdez to Fiorentina, with a number of other youngsters going out on loan. Into this pre-season at the moment, doesn't look like he's made any signings so far. Will Keane has left to Brentford. I don't think he was ever going to really amount to much at the club. So yeah, that's not too bad in terms of the signings. I think John Stones is a good signing for them. So let's see if we take a look now at their schedule for last year. See how they got on in the FA Cup. Well, they drew Arsenal in the first round. Let's say the first round. The first round they played in, a 2-2 draw at home and then 3-3 draw out on penalties. Yeah, not too good, to be honest. But yeah, it's odd that they got Arsenal at that stage. Let's see how they did in the Capital One Cup. Did they do any better? Well, they made it to the final and then lost 1-0 to Swansea. Goal from Jonjo Shelvey. It looks like a fairly even kind of game. Yusuf Poulsen not playing very well. Mike 6.5, not doing that well either. So the new signing's not really amounting to much. Good win over Man City in the semi-final. Was that 6-3 in aggregate? No, not 6-3, sorry. 5-4 in aggregate, because they lost that one. So they'll be fairly pleased with that. I mean, it's a tough run actually. Arsenal, then Leeds, Liverpool, Man City. So they did well to get to the final, but they'll be disappointed they didn't win. Champions Cup, got knocked out in the playoffs by AS Monaco. Now that was obviously under Van Gaal's stewardship, and probably the FA Cup was as well. No, the FA Cup was Jose Mourinho. So they've dropped into the Euro Cup, and they've actually won it. So they've beaten Dortmund in the final. Ashley Young scoring the 49th minute. So they must be pretty pleased with Mourinho's first season in charge to have won the Euro Cup. Yeah, excellent stuff. So let's go and skip on another year and see whether he's managed to improve on this performance. So at the end of Jose Mourinho's first full season in charge at Man United, he's still there at the moment, so going fairly well. Let's take a look and see how they got on in the Premier League. So stages and last year, we can see there the Man City got another title win. Man United finishing 5th this year, so a little bit disappointing. Certainly finishing 21 points behind the eventual winners is not going to be good enough. In terms of the losses, it looks like they've lost both games to Man City. They've lost away to Arsenal, lost home to Liverpool, Tottenham, and the draws. Yeah, so they haven't beaten Arsenal, they haven't beaten Liverpool this year. And Chelsea they've drawn, so they beat Chelsea once, but yeah, they'll be disappointed at where they've finished. So let's take a look at the transfer history to see what went on. Obviously, when we left it, they hadn't made any signings in the summer window. It looks as though they made 4 signings in total. Alessio Romagnoli, the Italian centre-back. Again, fantastic player, and I think obviously forming a partnership with John Stones, that should be quite a formidable defence. However, they seem to have lost a large number of games this year. They've also signed Domenico Berardi from Sassuolo, 22-year-old Italian right winger, very gifted player on 245k a week. How did he actually get on out of interest in last season? 7.36, 10 goals, 7 assists, 37 games, not too bad at all for Berardi. Then Vaclav Cherny from Ajax for 3 million. This looks as though it's a kind of squad filler by the looks of it, a guy with potential. Did he actually play last year? No, he went out on loan to Granada in the Liga BBVA and didn't do too well, to be honest. So yeah, he probably will be kind of floating around the edges of the squad. Serge Aurier signs from Paris Saint-Germain for 22.5 million. So he's spending big there. That's what's that? A total of 101 million he spent in that window. And good players. And obviously he signed Make the previous year, so signing yet another right back. Obviously defence is an area that Mourinho wants to strengthen. That's at least four players now he's signed. 2 centre backs, 2 right backs. In terms of who went out, Nick Powell left to Fulham. Tyler Blackett moved to Bournemouth, and the rest were all loans or free transfers. Again, it will just be the youth players. Start of this season, hasn't signed anyone yet. Another bunch of youth players have left. So in terms of how they actually got on in competitions last year, let's take a look and just narrow it down a bit. How did they get on in the FA Cup this year? Well, they won it. So this time they got to the final and they beat Arsenal in the final in extra time. Yusuf Poulsen scoring a double, so he looks as though he's perhaps improved from his performances. Well, barely. They were his only 2 goals of the season by the looks of it. 2 pretty big goals to score. So the FA Cup win for Man United against Arsenal. Did they manage to retain their Well, they didn't win the Capital One Cup, did they? They lost to Swansea in the final. Wow, so they actually won the Capital One Cup as well, beating Liverpool in the final. Very late goal from Memphis Depay. Yeah, so he's not doing too badly. Finishing 5th in the league is a disappointment, but winning the 2 cups surely should soften the blow a little bit. Much easier run to the final this year than they had last year. Champions Cup, they were there again. They made the quarter-finals, got absolutely thumped by Real Madrid. Surprise, surprise, Cristiano Ronaldo putting them to the sword with a hat-trick. That is some bad stats. 28%, 4 shots, none on target. That must have been such a painful game to have witnessed. In terms of how did they do in the league, they had Shakhtar, Galatasaray and FC Midtjylland, and they won every game apart from their away game against Shakhtar. So they didn't do too badly. Beat Lyon 6-1 in aggregate, and then just fell apart against Real Madrid, 7-1 on aggregate loss. Did a little bit better in their home game, but obviously still not able to overturn a 5-0 deficit from the first game. So obviously getting put out in the quarter-final, they won't be in the Euro Cup. This year they should have the Community Shield, so we'll see how they get on when we skip forward to the end of Season 3. So Season 3 comes to an end and Mourinho's still in charge. So let's have a quick look at how they got on in the Premier Division first of all. So this time round they finished 3rd, and it looks like it was a fairly close battle again with Arsenal there for 2nd place, but once again Man City winning. So that's 3 years now Man City have won the title in this simulation. That won't go down well in the red half of Manchester. So what do we have in terms of Mourinho's signings? Where are we? So no one made so far. Oops, jumping all over the place here. So we had 82.3 million spent on a total of 6 players. Just at glance here, it looks like 2 players are probably youngsters, probably regens, given that we're sort of 2.5 years in at that point. So we've signed Samu Castillejo from Villarreal for 22 million. I personally don't really know much about this player, but looks like a good attacking player, left winger. Then we've got Nabil Fekir from Lyon for 27.5 million. Another player that is quite versatile in the final 3rd. Looks pretty decent. Not too bad there. Valentino Gomelt from Dinamo for 800k. 17-year-old Croatian striker, and stupidly I haven't put attribute masking off here, so I can't actually see the stats here for this player. Valued at 4.7 million at 17-year-old, you'd have to guess he's pretty good. Then signing from Valencia, João Cancelo for 16.5 million. Yeah, another right back being signed. Again, don't know a great deal about this player, but he looks pretty decent from what I can see here. I'm not sure if he's actually been their first choice. Doesn't look like it. Played twice. Expensive, 16.5 million to play twice. Then we've got Antoine Conte from Stade de Reims for 13.5 million. He's played 4 times for Man United, so again another expensive squad player. Then finally Tom Smit from Vitesse, 16-year-old Dutch left winger. Yeah, obviously this guy's just been bought as a youth prospect. In terms of who's gone out, we've had a number of youth players yet again. We've then had Serge Aurier, who signed last summer, the right back. And has moved on to Bayern for only 9.25 million, and remember he signed for 22.5 million, so pretty big loss there for Man United. Ashley Young moves to Stoke, Phil Jones to West Brom for 7 mil. What else do we have? Valencia to Stoke, and then the big one, Domenico Berardi, the 44.5 million signing. The previous summer has moved on to Paris Saint-Germain for 43 million. 58 games, 18 goals for Man United. A pretty decent player, to be honest. And they managed to recuperate most of that, so I'm guessing they weren't trying to sell him, whereas perhaps with Serge Aurier they were trying to. Okay, so that's it in terms of the signings. So if we take a look at how they've done in the competitions, and first of all with the FA Cup, they got put out in the third round to Swansea at home, so not able to defend their trophy. And the Capital One Cup, not able to defend that either, lost to Crystal Palace in the quarter-final 1-0. Obviously they weren't in the Champions League last year, so they were in the Euro Cup, and they've actually won that. So that's now the second time in 3 years that they've won the Euro Cup under Mourinho. So that's not too bad at all. I don't know whether or not I would classify that as a success, because you'd probably expect Man United to be in the Champions League and get into the latter stages there, but that's not too bad, I suppose, to do that. So 3 years Mourinho hasn't managed to win the title. He's managed to win the Capital One Cup once, the FA Cup once, and the Euro Cup twice. So has he done well? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments box, and hopefully we'll come back and do some more simulations with some other managers. If you've got any suggestions, let me know in the comment box, or alternatively you can tweet me them, and we'll see whether or not we'll do another simulation in the coming days or weeks. So until the next time, guys, I'll see you when I see you.